met Steve the first time in Nashville. He performed.
To keep a clean kitchen.
Yeah, I like that you keep a clean kitchen. That's pretty impressive. I met him at an event, a seminar, and his band, Williams Riley, performed on the main stage, which was kind of unlikely for a new band. Never seen it before. It was a new label that you guys had put together. And they really did.
Lots of new bands, just not really new labels. So we were very fortunate to be able to play that luncheon.
Yeah, yeah. Usually it's one of the larger labels that buys the stage. The label that Steve was working with got the stage for them, and it was a great day. You guys brought out a Mardi Gras theme, and none of us knew what was going on. We were all confused as to what was happening. Well, it was right during Mardi Gras.
Well, you know, this is where major labels tend to showcase their artists.
Absolutely.
It's called CRS, and it's where I was introduced
Country
to
Radio Seminar.
Lady Antebellum. This is the first time I've ever seen them. Jake Owen. And they all had big labels behind them, and we had a small label. So we really wanted to do something different that would make it memorable. And, of course, beside the music being very memorable.
We were hoping the music would be memorable. The meal was memorable, I know that.
So we brought everything from New Orleans. We even had the small parade that came through and threw beads and stuff. So
it wasn't a small parade. It was a pretty big parade of musicians. They had horns that they were, just like you were in New Orleans. So Steve's band performed that day and did a great job. It was an incredible performance. Everybody was duly impressed. Later that day, he was standing at the bottom of the escalator. Do you remember this?
I do.
And I came down the escalator and he was standing there. I'm thinking, what the heck is he doing down here? So I went over and introduced myself, said, great performance, and we became friends from that point on.
We did.
We just kind of hit it off.
Yeah.
And decided when I was going to bring somebody into the house to do Kellie's Wildlife, I knew it was going to be Steve. With his background in cooking in Louisiana.
I think we spoke about it at the bottom of the escalator.
We did.
Back then,
and that
5
was
years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's finally happening.
Well, I think it's more special that we're still friends 5 years later. I don't get a whole lot of that. So, you know, as you know, I was sort of discovered by Edwin McCain. And if you, for people who don't know who he is, he's the guy who sang I'll Be and Could Not Ask for More, giant hits. And I sort of fell in love with this guy's music a long time ago. And I've lived a pretty blessed life. I can't ask for anything more in the life that I already have. And
that could be a song.
Well, it could be a song. Maybe we should write it.
Yeah.
So, as luck would have it, I actually met Edwin McCain, and he had already heard some of my music and invited me to go out on tour with him. So here I am.
What year is this? Do you remember?
I don't. I'm horrible with years, but I'm going to say that this was probably just as far back as 2004.
Mm-hmm. And you were singing more of an 80s style pop. What kind of music is it?
I think it was referred to as Americana music back then. It was very much in the vein of Edwin McCain, Dave Barnes, Mark Broussard, who's a huge, an unbelievable performer.
Another Louisiana boy.
Very much one of your favorites.
Very much one of my favorites.
Yeah. So I get to go on tour with Edwin, and I'm out there for 3 or 4 months, and I just decided that this is really what I want to do. So I started asking questions about how do I continue this sort of career, and I was told I needed a booking agent. Then I asked, well, how do I get a booking agent?
Now, for up and coming artists, this is an interesting story, really, because this is where it happens. This is how it becomes.
This is where it all happens.
Okay.
So every band knows that they are either going to book shows themselves or they're going to have a booking agent.
Which is a great thing for young artists to hear. You got to have a booking agent, right?
Well, again, unless you're fortunate enough to book all your shows yourself, it's much easier if you have a booking agent.
And are they super expensive?
Well, they're going to take a percentage of your cut from the shows.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get a booking agent interested, he's going to probably want to know that you have a single out to radio, and that you're probably, in order to do that, you have to sign to a label. So all of a sudden, I'm standing there wanting to be an artist that does a 45-minute opening set with an acoustic show to being told I've got to climb this giant mountain just to get back down to the bottom, which is the opening act. I didn't want to really do much more than that. But I eventually signed with the label and released songs on the charts. And it's a really tough life. There's a lot of begging and growling involved. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through. But it was one of the most rewarding things that I've ever gone through.
What was the most rewarding part of that process? Now that you look back at it, you've been at this a while, so.
Yeah. The most rewarding thing that's ever happened is when I received a letter in the mail from someone whose father had seen one of our videos. And our single was called I'm Still Me, and it's about growing old but still feeling young. And this woman wrote me the sweetest letter about her dad, who hardly spoke anymore, but he sat in his wheelchair in front of the television and he watched videos. He watched CNT and saw our video, and he started to cry. It was a really touching moment for her, and the fact that she put that down in a letter and sent it to me was really one of the most remarkable moments. Because I don't care.
Knowing that your music touches so many people, well, and outside of just her and her father, I mean, really, that's what drove me, you know, to love your music. And I went ahead and researched your music from way back when you were playing with Edwin McCain,
right,
even prior to CRS. So
yeah.
I got a touch of what you were doing prior to that. And it is touching. It's amazing music.
Well, you know, a lot of artists will tell you a lot of reasons as to why they write songs or play music. And the responses could be anywhere from picking up girls to wanting to be rich. But any artist that tells you that he doesn't want to touch people with his music is probably not telling you the truth. And that goes from a guy like me, who is a singer-songwriter, to Metallica. At some point, those guys even want to know that their music touches people. And even if it means anger, they want to know that their music affects people. So knowing that my music touched someone's life was one of the most rewarding moments. Beside that, meeting the people in country radio. They weren't all as bad as they were made out to be. And I had some really incredible friends like you that I'll be friends with for life.
And we said that the first interview. We just said, hey, we're probably going to be friends for the rest of our life. It's just the way it's going to be.
And I mean, here we are at your house in Colorado. You invited me in, and I grabbed a couple of the guys in the band, and we're coming here to do a show tonight for you and your friends.
Do some music, kick back, just relax.